you might have a quarter where there's job loss, but if, let's say the government was cutting off grant programs that were, supposed to create jobs or did create jobs, and those jobs no longer exist, it's not because the market or the economy is doing badly. It's because the government is cutting out the spending on those jobs. And one of the funny things, I think we learned this during the pandemic, and I know people said Doge is unfair, and they had all these federal workers protesting in the streets. But when people couldn't say concretely what it is they do to earn their salary, simple questions. I mean, I guarantee if you went to one of these government agencies and went to the janitor and said, "Can you tell me the 5 things you do all day?" But I mop the floor, clean the bathroom, spritz the plants down, wash the windows, whatever it is, empty the recycling. He could tell you what he does. If you've got bureaucrats earning six-figure salaries and they're program coordinators and they work 2 hours a day, maybe 7 hours, 8 hours a week, why would we have that many people working so many jobs when one person could probably pick up the job of four?
Well, unfortunately, I think part of the answer there is that we have a bit of a spoils system, right? Where a lot of these folks who are in these jobs that aren't very productive are in them because they have been put in them by folks who want to perpetuate a very large government, a very meddlesome government, a government that actually discourages real production, genuine production, production that takes place in the private sector. And that's not to say that all government jobs are net negative jobs, but certainly with where we are at the moment, a lot of them are, and we would be doing well to get rid of some of those.
But do you remember the movie Office Space?
Yes.
The scene where they ask the guy, "What do you do?" He goes, "I take the specs to the engineers." And he's like, "Well, why can't what do you mean?" "Well, I deal with the customers." You just take the specs to the engine. That's it. We don't need you to do that sort of thing. When we have these people that are doing these jobs that you, like you say, are inhibitive because they're probably regulatory jobs, meaning they're regulating somebody else's productivity and getting paid large sums of money to work a few hours. I could understand why we would want to get rid of that so we could free up the economy, not just from paying the bureaucrats, but to stop their overregulating of the economy to justify the income that they're making.
That's absolutely right. When you or I think about a job, certainly we would prefer to have a job than not have a job. And so there's this inclination to think of jobs as a good thing. And certainly in the private sector, they are. But not all jobs are good things. Some jobs, as I was saying, create headaches for the rest of us. And that's certainly the case when you have government engaged in that hiring. The number of jobs is just not a reliable indicator of the standard of living. The analogy I give my students in the classroom is, suppose that you were stranded on a deserted island and you have to hunt for your coconuts every day, and one day a box of canned goods rolls up on shore, right? You don't shove those back into the ocean on the grounds that it's going to eliminate some of your jobs. You realize that that's going to free up some of your time to do other things. And the same thing happens when we let go of unproductive workers at the in the federal government. Those folks, they're going to have their time freed up, and hopefully they will go on to actually produce something of value, something that makes other people's lives better off rather than worse off.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.